Commander Ta stood motionless on the bridge of the Starlight Watcher his gaze fixed on the holographic display that hovered before him. The small blue planet rotated slowly in the projection, innocent in appearance, but generating energy readings that made his skin prickle with unease. "This cannot be right," he muttered, more to himself than to the crew around him. Science Officer June looked up from her station, her face reflecting the same confusion. "The instruments are functioning correctly, Commander. I've checked them myself." The Starlight Watcher had been assigned to this sector for routine exploration. The Galactic Confederation's policy was clear: catalog new systems, identify potential civilizations, and observe without interference. What should have been a standard mission had suddenly become something else entirely. "Show me the readings again," Tide ordered, moving closer to the main console. June's fingers danced over the controls, and new data streams appeared in the air. Energy signatures flashed in patterns that told a story no one on the ship had expected to find. "As you can see, the vessels in Earth orbit and on their oceans are powered by antimatter reactors," June explained. "Their efficiency ratings exceed what we would expect from a civilization that hasn't achieved faster than light travel." Tay rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Could it be contamination? Perhaps another spacefaring race made contact before us. "No evidence of that," replied Security Officer Bin from his station. "All communications we've intercepted suggest they believe themselves alone in the universe." This made the readings even more puzzling. The Confederation had cataloged thousands of developing worlds, and the pattern of technological advancement was well established. Spacefaring capabilities typically emerged only after centuries of incremental progress. Yet here was Earth, still bound to its solar system, but wielding technology that shouldn't be possible at their stage of development. "Bring us closer," Ty decided. "Maintain cloaking field at maximum strength." The Starlight Watcher slipped silently through space, its advanced shielding rendering it invisible to Earth's detection systems. As they approached the planet's orbit, they began to intercept more detailed scans of the human vessels. "Commander, they're conducting some sort of military exercise," Bin reported, excitement creeping into his normally steady voice. "Multiple warships converging in their Pacific Ocean." Tay ordered the main viewer to focus on the area. The holographic display zoomed in, showing a formation of massive ships cutting through dark waters. Even to his untrained eye, these were clearly vessels designed for war. "Record everything," he ordered. "I want detailed analysis of their capabilities." For the next 12 hours, the crew of the Starlight Watcher observed in stunned silence as the Earth vessels demonstrated their capabilities. Ships that could move with startling speed and agility despite their size. Weapons systems that released precisely controlled energy beams, slicing through target drones as if they were made of paper. Defensive shields that repelled simulated attacks that would have troubled even Confederation cruisers. "Run the scans again," Ty ordered June, still unable to fully accept what they were seeing. June looked up, her expression serious. "I've run it 3 times, Commander. Those are definitely antimatter reactors powering their warships. The weapons signatures indicate directed energy capabilities we didn't expect from a pre-galactic civilization." Ta walked slowly around the holographic display, studying the Earth vessels from all angles. "How is this possible? Their historical records show they were using primitive fossil fuels just 2 centuries ago. The leap to antimatter containment should take at least 5 centuries of development. Perhaps they're simply more innovative than other species we've encountered," suggested Navigator Sun from her station. "Their historical records also show they're highly competitive with each other." This observation struck Ty as important. The Starlight Watcher had been monitoring Earth's communications, learning their languages and studying their cultures. Humans were indeed divided into nations that competed fiercely for resources and power. "Show me their conflicts," Ty ordered the ship's information officer to. The holographic display shifted to historical footage. War after war, spanning centuries. The images showed the rapid evolution of human weapons, from simple explosive devices to nuclear weapons to the advanced systems they now witnessed. "I believe I understand," Ta said quietly. "Other species develop technology to solve problems, to feed their people, explore their world, improve their lives. Humans develop technology to gain advantage over each other. A dangerous evolutionary path," remarked Medical Officer Min, who had joined them on the bridge. "Competition driving innovation at an unnatural pace." Ta nodded. "And now they have warships with capabilities that rival our own, but they've never faced an external threat. They've built these weapons to use against each other." The implications hung heavy in the air. The Confederation's protocols were clear about contact with new civilizations. Species were to be approached only when they had achieved certain technological and social milestones, with social stability being as important as technical capability. Earth presented a troubling case. Technologically advanced enough for contact, but with a history of violence that raised serious concerns. "Look there," June suddenly called out, pointing to a new development in the military exercise. One of the Earth vessels had launched what appeared to be a small projectile. As they watched, the projectile accelerated to incredible speed before detonating against an asteroid that had been placed as a target. The explosion tore the massive rock apart, leaving nothing but dust and debris. "That weapon," Bin said, his voice low with concern, "it created a localized gravity distortion before impact. That's beyond what our analysts believed humans capable of." Tai felt a chill run through him. Gravity weapons were strictly regulated even within the Confederation due to their destructive potential. "We need to report this immediately," he decided. "Establish a secure quantum link to High Command." As the communications officer worked to create the connection, Tai continued to watch the Earth vessels. They moved in precise formation, executing maneuvers that spoke of careful planning and training. These weren't experimental ships testing new technologies. This was a military force practicing for war. The implications were clear. If humans ever achieved faster-than-light travel with their current mentality and weapons technology, they could pose a significant threat to the peaceful species of the Confederation. "Message channel secure," Commander, reported Communications Officer Yun. "High Command is receiving." Tai straightened his uniform and faced the communication array. "This is Commander Tai of the exploration vessel Starlight Watcher *. We have encountered an anomaly that requires immediate attention." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. The report he was about to deliver could determine the future relationship between Earth and the Galactic Confederation. "Send a priority message to High Command," Ta said quietly. "We found something unexpected. A pre-FTL civilization with military technology far beyond their expected development stage. I recommend a full diplomatic and security assessment team be dispatched immediately. The species calls themselves humans, and they may represent either the greatest threat or the greatest opportunity the Confederation has encountered in generations." As the message transmitted across vast distances, Tai returned his gaze to the holographic display of Earth's warships. Whatever happened next would change the course of human history, and possibly that of the entire galaxy. The diplomatic vessel Tranquil Harmony docked with the Starlight Watcher with barely a sound, its advanced systems making the connection between the two ships seamless and perfect. On the observation deck, Commander Todd watched the airlock indicators cycle from red to green. The High Command had responded to his report with unprecedented speed. The airlock doors slid open to reveal Ambassador Kai, flanked by a team of specialists. Her formal diplomatic robes, adorned with the silver symbols of the Confederation, made it clear this was no routine visit. Behind her stood senior analyst Hana, whose reputation in xenosociology was known throughout the Confederation. "Commander." Ambassador Key greeted him with the traditional slight bow. "Your report has caused quite a stir in the council chambers." "Ambassador, welcome aboard the Starlight Watcher *. Tai replied, returning the gesture. "We've prepared all our findings for your review." As they walked through the corridors of the observation vessel, Ta couldn't help but notice the tension in the ambassador's usually composed features. The discovery of Earth had clearly disturbed the High Command more than he had anticipated. The briefing room was already occupied by Ta's senior staff and the specialists from the Tranquil Harmony *. The holographic display in the center of the room showed Earth slowly rotating, beautiful and seemingly peaceful from this distance. "Please begin the briefing," Ambassador Key requested as she took her seat. Senior analyst Hannah stood and activated her data tablet. The holographic display shifted to show various scenes from Earth's history. Primitive humans in tribal settings, ancient armies clashing with metal weapons, modern soldiers with firearms, and finally, the current naval vessels that had triggered the initial report. These humans evolved from tribal warfare. Senior analyst Hannah explained to the newly arrived Ambassador Key. Their entire history is marked by conflict. Key nodded gravely as she studied the footage of Earth's naval capabilities. The vessels moved with precision through the planet's oceans, their metal hulls gleaming in the sunlight of their star. They've developed in isolation, with no outside threats. Officer Sung added from his position at the security console. All this military advancement came from fighting each other, which makes them unpredictable. Hannah continued, zooming in on one particularly massive vessel that carried aircraft on its flat upper deck. They've built these warships without knowing what exists beyond their system. The room fell silent as the implications settled over the gathered officials. Species that developed in isolation typically followed predictable patterns of advancement. But humans had broken that pattern dramatically. "The question before us," Key said, breaking the silence, "is whether such a species is ready to join the galactic community, or whether they pose too great a risk." She turned to face the scientific team. "What of their social development? Do they still wage war against each other?" "Yes and no," replied June, bringing up new images on the display. "They have numerous nations with complex alliances. While they have global conflicts in their recent past, they currently maintain an uneasy peace through something they call mutually assured destruction." "Explain," demanded Kai. "Each major power possesses weapons capable of destroying entire cities. The fear of retaliation prevents them from using these weapons against each other." Ambassador Key's expression darkened. "They maintain peace through the threat of annihilation. This is not a stable societal model." "Yet it has worked for them for nearly a century," Hannah pointed out. "And it has driven their technological development at an extraordinary pace." The display shifted again to show Earth's space capabilities. Satellites orbiting the planet, small stations, and primitive exploration vehicles sent to nearby planets. "Their space technology lags behind their military advancement," Tay observed. "They've barely begun to exploit the resources of their own system." "Interesting," mused Kai. "Perhaps their competitive nature has focused their development in specific directions." Medical Officer Min stepped forward. "If I may, Ambassador, I've been analyzing their biological data. Humans show remarkable adaptability to different environments. Their physiological stress responses are particularly well developed, allowing them to function effectively in crisis situations. In other words," Key said slowly, "they're built for survival in hostile conditions." "Precisely," Min confirmed. "Even without their technology, they would be formidable." The ambassador rose from her seat and walked around the holographic display, studying Earth from different angles. Her decision would shape Confederation policy toward this newly discovered species. "We need more information before making a recommendation to the Council," she finally said. "I want detailed analysis of their communication patterns, social structures, and especially their conflict resolution methods. Do they have any concept of peaceful coexistence with different species?" Hannah brought up new data on the display. "They have extensive fictional narratives about contact with alien life. Interestingly, these stories range from peaceful cooperation to existential threat scenarios. They imagine both friendship and war with beings they've never encountered," Key said thoughtfully. "That suggests both openness and caution. Security Officer Bin, who had been quietly monitoring Earth's military communications, suddenly straightened at his console. Ambassador, we're detecting increased activity in their space defense systems. They appear to be tracking an unidentified object near their moon. All eyes turned to the tactical display. It's not us, Ta said quickly. Our cloaking technology is undetectable to their sensors. No, Bin confirmed. It's a natural object, an asteroid on an unusual trajectory. But their response is illuminating. The room watched as Earth's defense systems activated, space-based weapons platforms oriented toward the approaching object, while communication traffic between military centers intensified. They're preparing to destroy it, Bin observed. Standard defensive protocol for potential impact threats. No, said Hana, studying the data stream. Look at the communications. Multiple nations are coordinating the response, but they're not planning to destroy it. They're dispatching vessels to alter its course. As they watched, two small spacecraft approached the asteroid. With remarkable precision, they attached to its surface and activated engines that slowly changed its trajectory away from Earth. Cooperation and restraint, Ambassador Key noted. Interesting. They chose the more difficult but less destructive option. And they did it together, despite their political divisions, added Hana. Key turned to face the assembled team. We need to continue observation for at least one full orbital cycle of their planet. I want comprehensive analysis of how they handle crises, how they cooperate despite their divisions, and especially how they treat the weaker members of their own species. She paused, looking again at the image of Earth. A species defined by conflict but capable of cooperation presents both opportunity and risk. If they join the Confederation, their military knowledge could help defend peaceful species that lack defensive capabilities. But if they bring their warlike tendencies into space, they could destabilize millennia of peaceful coexistence. The meeting continued long into the night cycle of the ship, with specialists presenting detailed analyses of human culture, technology, and potential. Throughout the discussions, the holographic image of Earth continued to turn slowly in the center of the room, a blue jewel housing a species that might change the Confederation forever. As the meeting finally adjourned, Ambassador Key remained alone in the briefing room, still watching the image of Earth. Such a small planet, she murmured to herself, to hold such a complicated species. Admiral Park had been in space for 23 years, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. The alert had come 3 hours ago. An anomaly detected near Jupiter's orbit, something that appeared and disappeared from sensors in ways that defied explanation. As commander of Earth's most advanced warship, the ESS Defender *, he had been ordered to investigate. Status report, Park demanded, his voice steady despite the tension that filled the bridge. We're approaching the coordinates now, Admiral. Lieutenant CO replied from the navigation station. Still no clear reading on the anomaly. The Defender * represented the pinnacle of Earth's military technology. A space vessel capable of reaching Mars in days rather than months, armed with energy weapons and defensive systems that had never been tested in actual combat. Until now, its purpose had been primarily symbolic, a demonstration of human technological achievement and a deterrent against any nation that might consider taking warfare into space. Something's there, said Executive Officer Mina, pointing at the main view screen. The gravitational sensors are detecting a mass, but visual and radar show nothing. Park nodded slowly. He had suspected this possibility from the moment the strange readings were reported. After decades of searching the stars and finding no evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, humanity had begun to wonder if they were alone in the universe. He had always believed otherwise. Full stop, he ordered. Deploy sensor drones in a sphere formation around the anomaly. If something's hiding out there, I want to know what it is. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their fingers dancing across control panels as they carried out his commands. The Defender * came to a relative halt, hanging in space approximately 1,000 kilometers from where the instruments indicated something substantial existed, despite being invisible to conventional detection methods. "Drones deployed," reported the tactical officer. Park watched as the small unmanned craft spread out around the mysterious location. Each drone was equipped with different sensors, some detecting mass, others radiation, others analyzing space for distortions that might indicate advanced technology. "Admiral," Minna said quietly, her eyes fixed on her readouts. "The drones are detecting an electromagnetic field consistent with some kind of cloaking technology." A hush fell over the bridge. The implications were clear. If this was a cloaking device, it was far beyond anything Earth had developed. "Bring weapons systems online," Park ordered calmly. "Defensive posture only." Just as the words left his mouth, the space before them seemed to ripple and distort. Like a mirage dissolving in reverse, a vessel appeared where empty space had been moments before. It was sleek and elegant, clearly designed for space travel in ways that made the Defender look primitive by comparison. Admiral Park stood on the bridge of the ESS Defender staring at the alien vessel that had suddenly decloaked. They could have remained hidden, his executive officer Minna observed, her voice barely above a whisper. "The fact they're showing themselves suggests peaceful intent, or confidence in their superiority," Park countered, studying the alien craft's smooth lines and the subtle glow emanating from what he assumed were its propulsion systems. "Maintain defensive posture but open communications." The tension on the bridge was palpable. Every crew member remained at their station, trained for this moment, yet never truly believing it would come. Humanity's first contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence was happening not through radio signals or distant observations, but face-to-face in the cold vacuum of space. "Channel open, Admiral," the communications officer announced, her voice remarkably steady given the circumstances. For a moment, there was silence. Park wondered what protocol aliens might follow for first contact situations. Did they have procedures as humans did? Would they understand the concept of peaceful exchange, or was he about to face something utterly incomprehensible? The view screen illuminated with the image of a humanoid alien. Park felt a wave of relief wash over him. At least they were roughly similar in form, with a head, torso, and limbs. The alien's skin had a faint bluish tint, and its eyes were larger than human eyes, but the similarities were striking. "I am Commander Ta of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace," the alien said in perfect English, its mouth moving in ways that nearly matched the sounds. A collective gasp went through the bridge. Not only was the alien speaking their language, but it had mentioned a Galactic Confederation, implying the existence of multiple spacefaring species working together. Park took a deep breath. In this moment, he was no longer just an admiral. He was humanity's representative to the stars. "I am Admiral Park of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact, but will defend ourselves if necessary." The fate of Earth hung in the balance of this first conversation. Commander Tay's expression remained unreadable for a moment before shifting into what Park interpreted as a diplomatic smile. "Your caution is understandable, Admiral. We have been observing your world for some time. Your species' advancement has caught the attention of the Confederation." Park's mind raced. They had been watching Earth. For how long? And what had they seen? Humanity's bloody wars, their tentative steps into space, their divisions and conflicts. "You've been observing us without our knowledge?" Park asked, keeping his tone neutral despite the implications of such surveillance. "Yes," Commander Tay replied simply. "It is standard procedure when encountering a new spacefaring species. We needed to understand your capabilities and intentions before making contact." Minna leaned close to Park, whispering, "They must have extremely advanced technology to have remained undetected by our global sensor network." Park nodded slightly. If these aliens had been watching Earth, they likely knew more about humanity than humans knew about them. A significant tactical disadvantage. "And what have you concluded from your observations, Commander Ta?" Park asked carefully. The alien commander seemed to consider the question before responding. That humanity is complex. You possess remarkable technological capabilities, especially in warfare, yet you remain divided as a species. You are capable of both great destruction and impressive cooperation. The Confederation finds you fascinating. The way Ta said fascinating sent a chill down Park's spine. It reminded him of scientists discussing an unusual specimen. We have many questions, Park said, deciding to take a more assertive approach. About your Confederation, about other intelligent life, about your intentions toward Earth. As do we about you, Tay responded. Which is why Ambassador Key has authorized me to invite a small delegation from Earth to our vessel for diplomatic exchange. A gesture of our peaceful intentions. Park hesitated. Such an invitation was both an opportunity and a risk. Boarding an alien vessel would put human representatives at the aliens' mercy, but refusing might be interpreted as hostility or fear. We would need time to consult with Earth's leadership, Park replied. This decision extends beyond my authority. Of course, Ta nodded. We understand the significance of this moment for your species. However, I should inform you that we have detected multiple Earth vessels approaching our position. Your government appears to have dispatched additional forces. Park's communication panel lit up, confirming Ta's statement. 3 more Earth ships were indeed on approach, likely sent as backup once the anomaly was confirmed. A standard precaution, Park explained, just as your observation of our planet was standard procedure for you. For the first time, Commander Tay's expression showed what might have been amusement. It seems our species share certain cautious approaches, Admiral. Perhaps we have more in common than initially apparent. The statement hung in the air, a potential bridge between 2 profoundly different civilizations. Perhaps we do, Park agreed. I will communicate your invitation to Earth's leadership. In the meantime, I propose we maintain position and continue this dialogue. There is much we can learn from each other without either side leaving their vessel. A reasonable proposal, Tai agreed. We await your leadership's decision. As the communication continued, Park couldn't help but feel the weight of history on his shoulders. Somewhere on Earth, leaders were being awakened with news that would forever change humanity's understanding of their place in the universe. Decisions made in the next few hours would set the course for Earth's relationship with a vastly more advanced civilization. And yet, despite the enormous stakes, Park felt a glimmer of hope. The aliens had chosen to reveal themselves rather than strike without warning. They spoke of peace and diplomacy rather than demands or threats. Perhaps humanity's first step into the galactic community would not be marked by conflict, but by cooperation. Only time would tell. The lunar base Armstrong gleamed under Earth's reflected light, its titanium and carbon fiber structures a testament to humanity's determination to establish a permanent presence beyond their homeworld. It had taken 3 days of careful negotiations, security arrangements, and diplomatic exchanges before the alien delegation agreed to visit the facility. For Admiral Park, bringing the aliens to the moon rather than Earth had been a strategic decision. It demonstrated human technological capability while keeping the visitors at a safe distance from the planet's population. Commander Ta stepped from the airlock of the small shuttle that had transported him and his team from their vessel to the lunar surface. Though his species had mastered artificial gravity generations ago, he still seemed to take a moment to adjust to the moon's lower gravitational pull. Behind him came Ambassador Key and 2 other members of the Galactic Confederation, their movements graceful despite the unfamiliar environment. Welcome to Armstrong Base, Admiral Park said formally, extending his hand in the human gesture of greeting that had been explained to the aliens during their preliminary communications. After a moment of hesitation, Commander Tai reached out and completed the handshake. Thank you for hosting us, Admiral. This is most illuminating. The small group proceeded through the base's main corridors, passing curious human personnel who tried to maintain professional composure despite the historic nature of the moment. Earth's news networks were broadcasting carefully selected footage of the visit, and Park knew that billions of people were watching this first official meeting between humanity and extraterrestrial intelligence. This section houses our research facilities, Park explained as they passed laboratories with transparent walls. Inside, scientists worked on experiments ranging from lunar agriculture to new propulsion systems. Armstrong serves as both a defense installation and a scientific outpost. Ambassador Key's large eyes took in everything with careful attention. Your species values knowledge alongside security. This is promising. The tour continued to the base's command center, where real-time data from Earth's defense network was monitored. Screens displayed the positions of military satellites, orbital weapons platforms, and the small but growing fleet of space-capable warships. Your ships are designed for extended combat, Commander Tai observed as he walked alongside Admiral Park through the lunar defense base. He gestured toward a holographic display showing the specifications of the ESS Defender *. A necessity born from our divided past, Park explained, choosing his words carefully. When nations competed, naval superiority often determined survival. Yet you've united to explore space, Tai asked, genuine curiosity evident in his voice. We're learning to channel our competitive nature toward common goals, Park replied. The Moon Treaty of 2032 was our first real step toward global cooperation in space. We realized that dividing the cosmos as we had divided Earth would lead to conflicts we couldn't afford. Ambassador Key joined them at the display, her slender fingers adjusting the hologram to rotate the image of the Earth vessel. Interesting that cooperation came from fear of greater conflict rather than from shared ideals. Sometimes, said Dr. Jin, Earth's leading xenobiologist who had joined the delegation, we need to recognize the consequences of our worst tendencies before we can embrace our better nature. Key nodded, a gesture they had adopted from studying human communication, a sentiment expressed by several species in the Confederation's history. The tour continued through various sections of the base, with both groups cautiously sharing information while clearly maintaining certain boundaries. The aliens expressed particular interest in Earth's agricultural techniques and water reclamation systems, while the humans were fascinated by glimpses of the Confederation's knowledge of astrophysics. By mutual agreement, the day would culminate in a formal dinner, a human tradition that the aliens had researched and found appropriate for diplomatic exchange. The base's largest meeting room had been transformed for the occasion, with a long table set with Earth delicacies chosen to be compatible with the visitors' biology. As they settled around the table, Admiral Park couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. Here they were, representatives of humanity, breaking bread with beings from another world. All the science fiction stories, all the speculation about first contact, and now it was happening under his command. Before we begin, Ambassador Key said, raising the small crystal device that had been cleared by security, I would like to offer a token of the Confederation's goodwill. The device projected a three-dimensional star map into the center of the table, showing thousands of points of light in exquisite detail. This map shows the known inhabited systems of our sector of the galaxy, Key explained. The Confederation currently encompasses 12 spacefaring species across 117 solar systems. A collective gasp went around the human side of the table. The scale of the alien civilization was far greater than they had imagined. The highlighted systems, Key continued, pointing to several blue dots, are worlds where human-like conditions exist. Planets where your species could potentially visit or even colonize, with proper environmental precautions. Dr. Jin leaned forward, her scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol. Are you offering us access to these worlds? Kai's expression shifted to what the humans had come to recognize as a diplomatic smile. The Confederation values exchange between cultures. We've found that diversity of thought and approach leads to greater innovation and stability. Earth would bring unique perspectives. Later, during the diplomatic dinner, Ambassador Key shared information about the 12 spacefaring species of the Confederation. The humans listened with rapt attention as she described beings that existed as crystalline structures, others that lived primarily in liquid environments, and some that had evolved in gas giants. The Larillian people were the founders of the Confederation, Key explained, showing an image of tall, ethereal beings with translucent skin. They achieved faster than light travel over 12,000 of your years ago and established the principles of cooperative expansion. And all these species coexist peacefully? Asked the United Earth Council representative, her skepticism evident. Kay's expression grew more serious. The galaxy is not always peaceful, she admitted. Your defensive capabilities have impressed us, though we were surprised to find them. There are species beyond Confederation space that do not share our values of cooperation and exchange. This revelation sent a subtle shift through the room. The humans exchanged glances, processing the implications. Perhaps, Park suggested, meeting Kay's gaze directly. We each have something the other needs. The ambassador tilted her head, considering his words. An interesting perspective. Admiral, what do you believe we might need from Earth? Park chose his next words carefully, aware that he was potentially shaping humanity's position in galactic politics. From what you've shared, the Confederation values diplomacy and scientific exchange. These are worthy principles. But in our history, we've learned that sometimes strength is necessary to protect such principles. You're suggesting a military contribution, Commander Tai observed. I'm suggesting that Earth's experience with conflict might provide valuable insights for defending peace, Park clarified. Our warships were built because we understand threats. That understanding might serve the Confederation, just as your knowledge of peaceful cooperation between diverse species would benefit Earth. A thoughtful silence fell over the table. Ambassador Key and Commander Tai exchanged looks in a silent communication that the humans couldn't interpret. In the history of the Confederation, Key finally said, new members have always brought unexpected gifts. The Daxori brought their understanding of quantum mathematics. The Helvani brought revolutionary approaches to ecological management. She paused, her large eyes studying the humans. Perhaps humanity's gift is a deeper understanding of how to preserve peace when diplomacy fails. The conversation continued long into the evening, with both sides cautiously exploring potential areas of cooperation. Medical knowledge was exchanged, cultural artifacts shared, and preliminary discussions begun about the possibility of human representatives visiting Confederation worlds. As the dinner concluded, Admiral Park and Commander Ta stood at one of the base's observation windows, looking out at the stark lunar landscape with Earth hanging in the black sky above. Your world is beautiful, Ta remarked. We have observed it for some time, but seeing it from here, with my own eyes, it has a certain power. We fought too many wars over that beauty, Park replied. Perhaps meeting the Confederation will help us appreciate what we have. Or perhaps, Ta said with unexpected insight, it will give you something new to fight for, rather than against. The Admiral considered this perspective. Either way, I believe today marks the beginning of a profound change for humanity. And perhaps, Ta added quietly, for the Confederation as well. The negotiations between Earth and the Galactic Confederation had progressed rapidly over the 2 weeks following first contact. The initial fear and suspicion had gradually given way to cautious optimism as both sides discovered unexpected common ground. The United Earth Council had established a temporary diplomatic headquarters on Armstrong Base, where representatives from Earth's nations worked alongside the alien delegation to draft preliminary agreements for cultural and scientific exchange. Admiral Park stood in the command center, reviewing the latest security reports. The presence of the Confederation vessel in Earth orbit had initially caused panic, but as official information was released to the public, the global mood had shifted toward excitement and curiosity. Scientists were particularly eager to access the wealth of knowledge the aliens had offered to share. Admiral, called Lieutenant CO from the communications station. The Defender reports all systems nominal. The test of the new communication protocol with the Confederation vessel was successful. Park nodded his approval. The sharing of basic technology had begun, with the Confederation providing systems to improve Earth's deep space communication capabilities. In return, Earth had shared its unique approaches to resource efficiency and material science. Ambassador Kai entered the command center, accompanied by Commander Tai and 2 human diplomats. Their discussion about educational exchange programs halted as they noticed Park's serious expression. "Is something wrong, Admiral?" Key asked, her large eyes focusing intently on the tactical displays. Before Park could respond, the alarm klaxons sounded throughout the station. Red emergency lights began flashing, and the command center erupted into controlled chaos as officers rushed to their stations. "Multiple unknown vessels detected at the edge of the solar system," announced the sensor officer, her fingers flying across the control panel. "They've just dropped out of some kind of faster-than-light travel." "On screen," Park ordered, stepping forward. The main display showed 3 ships approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit. Unlike the elegant curved design of the Confederation vessel, these ships were angular, with protruding structures that resembled weapons arrays. 3 Dominion warships have entered the system," Officer Sung reported tensely, reading from the data streaming across his console. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies. They're demanding Earth's surrender." A cold silence fell over the command center. Even the human officers who had been skeptical of the Confederation's peaceful intentions now looked to Ambassador Key with questioning eyes. "They've followed us here," Key said grimly, her normally composed demeanor showing signs of stress. "The Dominion has long sought to challenge Confederation influence. They must have detected our communications." "Who are they?" demanded one of the Earth diplomats. "What is this Dominion?" Commander Ta stepped forward. "A coalition of 3 aggressive species that rejected Confederation principles. They believe in conquest rather than cooperation. They've remained at the fringes of known space for centuries, occasionally raiding isolated systems. And now they're here," Park stated flatly. "How much time do we have?" "At their current velocity, approximately 6 hours before they reach Earth orbit," Officer Sung replied. Admiral Park exchanged looks with Commander Ta. "We haven't formally joined your Confederation," he noted, his mind already calculating defensive options. "Which means you're unprotected," Tai replied, regret evident in his voice. "Confederation law prohibits us from engaging in military action on behalf of non-member worlds without specific authorization from the Council. Such authorization would take days to obtain." "No," Park corrected with a thin smile. "It means we can respond without diplomatic constraints." He turned to his communications officer. "Alert all Earth Defense Forces. I want every space-capable vessel armed and ready for deployment within 3 hours. Activate the Orbital Defense Platform Network and notify all ground-based missile systems to prepare for possible orbital targets." The officer acknowledged the orders and began transmitting the alert codes. "Admiral," Ambassador Key said, "the Dominion vessels are significantly more advanced than Earth technology. Their weapon systems can target from beyond your defensive range." "Perhaps," Park conceded, "but they've never faced Earth before. We may not have your level of technology, but we've been preparing for threats from space since we first looked up at the stars." The next 5 hours were a whirlwind of activity. Earth's military forces mobilized with an efficiency that visibly impressed the Confederation representatives. The Defender and its sister ships moved into formation around the planet, while smaller, faster vessels took up forward positions to act as early warning systems. In the Armstrong Base Conference Room, hastily converted to a war room, Admiral Park briefed the captains of Earth's 7 major space vessels. "The enemy expects an inferior force with predictable tactics," he explained, pointing to the tactical display. "Their approach vector suggests they plan to neutralize our orbital defenses before demanding ground surrender. They don't know that we've studied conflict for our entire history." "What's your plan, Admiral?" asked Captain Han of the ESS Intrepid *. Park outlined a strategy that made Commander Tay's eyes widen in surprise. Rather than meeting the Dominion ships head-on or forming a defensive perimeter around Earth as expected, Park proposed an asymmetric approach that utilized the natural features of the solar system itself. "We'll use Jupiter's gravity well to accelerate beyond their predicted capabilities," Park explained. "Captain Han, your ship will appear to be fleeing, drawing at least one of their vessels into pursuit. Meanwhile, Captain Da, you'll position the Valiant behind Mars, using its mass to shield your energy signature until the enemy passes." The battle plan continued with similar unconventional tactics, assigning each Earth vessel a role that played to its unique strengths while exploiting the Dominion's unfamiliarity with the solar system's geography. When the briefing concluded, Commander Tai approached Park privately. "Your strategy is unexpected. The Dominion relies on superior firepower and intimidation. They're not prepared for this kind of thinking." "Necessity breeds innovation," Park replied simply. "Humanity has always had to overcome superior forces through creative approaches." As the Dominion ships crossed the orbit of Mars, the Earth forces moved into position. The Confederation vessel, though unable to participate directly, maintained communication links that allowed Earth commanders to better understand their opponent's capabilities. The battle that followed astonished the watching Confederation forces. Earth's ships moved with unexpected tactics, their weapons proving devastatingly effective against the Dominion forces. Captain Han's Intrepid successfully lured one enemy vessel into the perfect position for a surprise attack from the Valiant which emerged from behind Mars just as the Dominion ship passed. The ESS Defender under Park's direct command, demonstrated why Earth's military capabilities had so impressed the Confederation observers. Its antimatter-enhanced weapons struck with precision, targeting the weak points in Dominion, shielding that Ambassador Key had reluctantly identified during the emergency planning session. The battle raged for nearly 3 hours, with Earth taking significant damage but fighting with a coordination and adaptability that the Dominion clearly hadn't anticipated. When the Defender managed to disable the Dominion flagship's main propulsion system, the tide turned decisively. "They're retreating," announced Officer Sung, unable to keep the triumph from his voice. "The 2 remaining Dominion vessels are powering up their faster-than-light drives." A cheer went up throughout the command center, quickly silenced by Admiral Park's raised hand. "Maintain battle stations until they've left the system. This may be a tactical withdrawal." The tension held until sensors confirmed the Dominion ships had indeed left the solar system, jumping to whatever method of faster-than-light travel they employed. In the aftermath, the mood on Armstrong Base was one of exhausted relief mingled with pride. 3 Earth vessels had sustained heavy damage, and the Valiant had been lost with 37 of her crew, but the alternative, subjugation by the Dominion, had been unthinkable. 2 days later, in a formal ceremony broadcast to all of Earth, representatives of the United Earth Council signed a provisional alliance treaty with the Galactic Confederation. The agreement stopped short of full membership, but established Earth as a protected ally with specific contributions to Confederation security. Afterward, as the alliance treaty was drafted, Commander Tai approached Admiral Park in the observation lounge overlooking the lunar landscape. "Your people fight like none I've seen," he admitted, a new respect evident in his voice. "The Dominion has never been repelled so effectively by a less technologically advanced species." "Let's hope that together," Park replied, gazing at the Earth hanging in the black sky above them, "we'll have less need for fighting at all." Ta followed his gaze to the blue planet. The Confederation Council was divided about making contact with Earth. Some feared your warlike tendencies would disrupt the balance we've maintained for centuries. And now they understand that sometimes peace must be defended by those who understand war. Ta turned to face the Admiral directly. "The Dominion will return, perhaps with greater numbers. But next time, they will face not just Earth, but the combined forces of the Confederation, enhanced by your unique tactical approach." As they stood there in companionable silence, both contemplating the future, Admiral Park reflected on humanity's long journey. From tribal conflicts to global wars to this moment, standing as equals with beings from across the stars. Earth's hard-won knowledge of conflict had, ironically, earned them a place in a peaceful galactic community. We still have much to learn from the Confederation. Park acknowledge. About cooperation, about sustainable expansion, about living in harmony with different kinds of intelligence. And we have much to learn from Earth, Tay responded. Your species' resilience, creativity, and determination are qualities that will strengthen us all. The alliance between Earth and the Galactic Confederation would face many challenges in the years to come. Cultural differences, technological disparities, and a lingering threat of the Dominion would test the new relationship. But as Admiral Park watched the first Confederation educational and scientific delegations arrive at Armstrong Base the following week, he felt a profound optimism. Humanity had found its place among the stars not despite its troubled history, but because of the strength and wisdom that history had forged.